On January the 20th, 2022, OM Digital Solutions, formerly known as Olympus, teased us about an event that they're going to be holding at CP Plus on February the 24th at 1500 hours Tokyo time. Now that's 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 a.m. London time, or 7 a.m. Central European time. So if you're not in Asia, well, you're going to have to get up early for this one. Now, one thing they didn't do with this announcement is they didn't say in any way whatsoever what they were going to announce. However, it's pretty safe to say that they're going to announce the Wow camera, a camera that they've been teasing for since back in February of 2021, and that they said was just a year away. So if you line up the stars, pretty much we're going to get the Wow camera. However, this morning, 4/3 Rumors brings this to us. A Weibo user is saying that the Wow camera is going to be announced not on the 24th, but on the 15th, which is next Tuesday, although no time is specified. And it's kind of rare that a company is going to schedule an event and not let the marketplace know about it when you're about a week away. Yes, I know others have done it, like Sony. They've scheduled an event merely just a day away, but most companies are going to give you at least a week or two of notice before the event takes place. Also, is it common to have an event and then have another event just a week later? Well, no, it really isn't that common, especially leading up to a major trade show. However, it's not completely uncommon. If you remember last year, Panasonic had a virtual event, and then just 2 weeks later, they had another virtual event. And this was frustrating for Panasonic owners because they were really expecting to get the GH6 at the first event, and they go, oh, here's another event, it'll be about the GH6, and it wasn't. So very, very frustrating. But what's really interesting about this teaser here is that the camera still has the Olympus name right at the top, and it's actually named the OM-1. Okay, so we don't really have a lot to go on by this Weibo user. Yes, it's supposed to be next Tuesday, we don't know the time, and it's supposed to be the Wow camera, and not really a big deal, because if it isn't, if this is just one of those fake rumors out there, and even 4/3 Rumors themselves says, I'm not so sure about this, and they're asking for those in the marketplace to say, what do you think? Chime in. Does anybody have any inside information? And, well, we're only a week away from the supposed announcement, and we're 2 weeks away from the confirmed announcement, so I don't really care one way or another. It's kind of interesting coffee talk. But what is interesting about this slide, too, is if they're going to continue to use that Olympus name, I find it really, really confusing. And this company's changed their names I don't know how many times this year. The branding, to me, is the biggest challenge that they have. It was Olympus, then it was OM Digital, then it was OM Systems. Now it's OM Digital Solutions, and if you look at their website, you still see OM Systems, but then right at the top you see OM Digital Solutions. What? Can you please pick a name? Whoever you are, the company that I dare not name. Maybe that's the name I'll use, the company that I dare not name. And also the name, OM-1. That's just fine. We really don't care the name. We don't care if it has Olympus. What we really do care about is the capabilities of this camera. And we don't know much. We know it's supposed to be priced just over $2,000. It's going to use a micro 4/3 sensor, but outside of that, we know very little. And as soon as I know more, I'll let you know more. But now I want to address the biggest myth in the camera industry, and that is micro 4/3 cameras are dead, or at the very least, they're irrelevant. They're a dead man walking. I disagree with this. Even though I shoot right now with a full-frame mirrorless camera, it doesn't mean I think that a full-frame mirrorless camera is perfect for everybody and that everybody should have an R5. That's just silly. What I like about a micro 4/3 camera is its lightweight and compactness helps in so many areas. And I'll use the example of the GH5 right now. Name another camera that's not micro 4/3 that has as good or nearly as good internal in-body image stabilization system. There isn't any. I've got the Canon EOS R5 and it has 8 stops of image stabilization with the right lens, and it's good. But as far as walking or even light jogging with it, forget it. The footage is too choppy, even if I use enhanced digital stabilization. But the GH5, with its IBIS, is absolutely incredible. You can walk, you can jog, and it produces very stable, very smooth, very cinematic footage, very usable footage. It's truly, truly incredible. And then you got the GH5S without IBIS, which works in other scenarios such as, well, if you're filming with around vehicles. And I'll use the example of the show Top Gear. Quite often they have multiple cameras in any one given episode with as many as 4 to 6 cameras to the inside and outside of the car. And if you ever see one of their cars from the outside, You can see all these sticker marks from the inside where the cameras are bolted or stuck to the windshield. And why? Well, because they're trying to get different angles of the driver, of the passenger, of people in the back seat, from outside of the car, from the different viewpoints. And because these cameras are so lightweight, it doesn't take as much kit to bolt them into place to hold them down, whereas the R5, for example, with its much bulkier girth, its heavier weight, would require much more solid systems to bolt them down. It takes up more space inside the vehicle where you don't have a lot of space to begin with. And so it's not just vehicles, it's any place where you're shooting video where you have a very, very tight space. And Micro Four Thirds works very, very well in that scenario as well. And then there's people who want a camera that produces better video in stills than their smartphone, but they don't want to walk around with a hulking, bulking camera like the R5 or the Alpha One or even the A7 IV around their neck. They want a lightweight camera that they can stick in their purse, that they can put in their pocket, that they can pretty much carry around incognito. And that lightweight and ease of use is right there front and center, and I get that, especially if you're not going to be shooting photos and stills all the time. Now me, when I'm on vacation, I'm one of those guys that's working all the time. I've got the camera out all the time. I'm almost always using it, and in some cases, you're right, I don't truly enjoy the vacation until several days in, until I feel I've gotten the shots I need, or until I get back home and I actually watch the video. And that is a problem that I have to work on. That's a challenge for me. So to say that Micro Four Thirds cameras or the ecosystem is dead, I think is completely wrong. Now that doesn't mean there aren't some challenges, and if you're a Panasonic GH5 owner or even an S-Series owner, you know what I'm talking about. And while I believe strongly in manual autofocus, for example, this week I shot a time-lapse video in 8K of my son and myself putting together a Lego bus. And I tried different autofocus points because I'm relatively new to shooting time-lapses. And it's unlike any other video. If the eyes aren't completely in focus, you don't really notice as much, especially when the build, the subject of the video, isn't too far away from you. So I tried manual focus where I locked it completely on the bus. And as you can see right here, it looks great. It looks really, really good. And do you really notice that my eyes or my son's eyes aren't completely in focus? No, it works perfectly well. However, when I chose autofocus, I autofocus, and it latched onto our eyes. Again, notice here, do you really see that? Do you really see that it's locked onto our eyes? You really don't. But now when I punch in to the build, you can see that it's blurry, it's not sharp. And you see, I really do appreciate shooting manual focus. And the difference between professionals and amateurs in a lot of cases is not that they choose manual focus, but they know when to choose manual over autofocus. So for example, when I'm shooting this video, it's always in autofocus. I could try to get my wife to come down here and sit in this chair or my son, but they're not always available, and that takes extra time. When I shoot these studio pieces where I've shot, trust me, over 700 of them, I set it to autofocus and I never have to worry about it. I think I've lost maybe 3 to 5 videos over the 7 odd years that I've been shooting with Canon cameras. The autofocus system is that good. And even if you are okay with the autofocus system, and even if you shoot manual focus most of the times, the real challenge isn't to you, is it? It's really to attracting more people to the platform so that Panasonic can grow. Because the last thing we want to see Panasonic do is stay in the basement with sales worldwide of somewhere less than 5%, and then somebody in Panasonic's boardroom thinking like, do we really need that Lumix line? Is it really generating any profits for us? Why don't we just spin it off? We'll make more money. And see, that's why there are certain challenges we have to deal with in Micro Four Thirds. The autofocus system with the GH5, or even on their full frame cameras, Panasonic has to move away from contrast detect, depth from defocus, autofocus system, and hopefully on the 23rd, when Panasonic has announced that they're going to have their virtual press conference at CP+, it's going to have a face detect autofocus system. And one last thing, I almost forgot to mention this. Well, I did forget to mention it at the beginning where I wanted to, where I was talking about the events at CP+. As of today, and again, thank you for CP+ for reminding me about this, but on CP+'s website, they've canceled the in-person event. So it's good that they were thinking ahead, that they're still going to go ahead with a virtual event of CP+, but the in-person event has been canceled. You can see this on their website. Switch to English, then you can go to the news stories. You can see it in English. But once you click on the event, it goes to Japanese, and there isn't currently an English version, at least not that I could find when I was getting ready to shoot this video. So we do have a lot of interesting things coming up. What I would definitely put in your placeholder is February the 23rd and the 24th for the Panasonic and Olympus events. I'm going to call them Olympus. That's just what I'm going to stick to. Now, whether we have one next Tuesday, well, we'll wait and see. I'm definitely not going to stay up late at night to wait for this one, but I will stay up late for CP Plus, 23rd and 24th. Maybe I just need to take a few days off there and maybe do a live stream. Now, who's going to watch a live stream at 1 in the morning? Well, maybe a few people will. We'll just have to wait and see and find out. But also, we're expecting announcements from other camera companies too. What about Sony? Are they going to tease us about an Alpha 5? What about Canon? Will they bring out a replacement for the RP or another camera that sits between the RP and the R6? What about APS-C R system cameras? We'll just have to wait and see. Now, Canon rumors in one of the latest posts did indicate that we're not going to be getting a camera from Canon until March, which is just a month away. We'll just have to wait and see. And of course, in March, we're also expecting some powerful video editing computers from Apple. One last thing before I let you go, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Not only does it help this channel grow, well, I'll be honest with you, watching this video, recommend it to your friends, helps this channel grow more than just clicking like and subscribe. But to me, personally, I take it as a virtual pat on the back. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.